There are 3 phone calls sitting on your list that you have never made, and any one of them could put more money in your Social Security check every single month for the rest of your life. Not a rebate, not a one-time bonus. A permanent raise on money you already earned that nobody at the Social Security office is ever going to call and offer you. They will fix it the day you ask. They will not knock on your door. So if you're over 62 and drawing a Social Security check, or you're about to start, give me the next few minutes. Because most people go their whole retirement without making these 3 calls, and they leave real money on the table every month doing it. I'm going to give you all 3. Exactly who to call, the exact department, and the precise words to say when a human finally picks up. And I'm saving the biggest one for last. Because for the right person, that 3rd call alone is worth more than $500 a month. Let's start with the one almost everybody needs. Before I do, let me clear 2 things out of the way because I already know what some of you are thinking. This is not only for low-income folks scraping by, and it's not only for people with a big pension and a paid-off house. Both of those are wrong. The mistake I'm about to describe hits the retired machinist and the retired school teacher exactly the same. And no, I'm not a lawyer or an accountant. I'm just the person who reads the dull government rules so you don't have to, and says them back to you in plain English. While we go, do me one favor. Somewhere in the comments, tell me which of these 3 you've actually done. I've got a hunch it's going to be almost nobody, and that's the entire point of this video. Call number 1. This is the foundation, and it's the one the most people need without ever knowing it. You are going to call Social Security and check your earnings record for mistakes. Here's why that matters, in plain English. The number on your check isn't pulled out of the air. It's built from a lifetime record of every dollar you ever earned and paid Social Security tax on. They keep that record, and that record has holes in it. An employer that reported your wages under one wrong digit of your Social Security number. A year you got married, changed your name, and the 2 records never got stitched back together. A company that went under and never filed its final paperwork. A cash job that quietly never made it onto the books. Every one of those is a year the system thinks you earned less than you did, or nothing at all. And a year of zeros where there should be real wages drags your whole benefit down, not for a month, for the rest of your life. Here's the part that should sit you up straight. You are the only person who will ever catch this. Nobody at Social Security audits your record for you. They work with the numbers they have, holes and all. So you go get it. You can see your full earnings history for free inside your account at ssa.gov, or you call and ask them to mail it to you. Then you go down it year by year next to your old tax returns or your W-2s. Any year that looks wrong or sits there blank when you know you worked, you flag it. The number is 1-800-772-1213. You tell them in these exact words that you want to correct your earnings record, and you ask about Form SSA 7008. That's the request for correction forms. It has a name, write it down, bring your proof, a W-2, a pay stub, an old tax return. How much is it worth? It depends on how big the hole is. Fixing 2 or 3 missing years might lift your monthly check by $30, $50, $100. That doesn't sound like a jackpot, but it's a permanent recalculation. So multiply it by 12 months, then by 20 or 30 years of retirement. And this quiet little call is often the biggest paying one on the whole list. Let me put a real shape on that because it depends is a frustrating answer. Say you dig through your record and find 3 years where an old employer never reported you. And that's not rare at all if you ever worked construction, restaurants, seasonal jobs, anything cash heavy. Getting those 3 years added back might lift your monthly benefit by, let's say, $60. $60. I can hear you thinking, that's not worth a phone call. So hold that number for a second. $60 a month is $720 a year. Live another 25 years, and that one correction just handed you $18,000 you would otherwise never have seen for a phone call and a shoebox W-2. That's why I keep hammering it. Don't judge this call by how small it sounds today. Judge it by the 20 years sitting on the back end of it. One honest catch, so you don't hear it later and feel tricked. There's usually a time limit, a little over 3 years, to correct a given year's wages. But that limit has real exceptions, and this is the sentence that matters. If you can prove the money with a tax return you actually filed, or the employer left it off by mistake, they can fix it well past that deadline. So do not let anyone wave you off with, it's too old. Push. Ask them to look at the exceptions. That is your money they're talking about. That was the warm-up. Call number 2 is bigger, and it's about a charge that's quietly shrinking the check you already get. A charge that lands on people who did nothing wrong except retire. It's called IRMAA. Ugly name, simple idea. If your income is over a certain line, Medicare tacks an extra surcharge on top of your normal Part B premium. And that surcharge comes straight out of your Social Security deposit before the money ever reaches your bank. Now here's the trap that catches so many freshly retired people. Medicare doesn't look at what you make now. It sets that surcharge using your tax return from 2 years ago. 2 years ago. So the year you were still working, still pulling your peak paycheck, That's the year they're judging you on long after you retired and your income fell off a cliff. Sit with what that means for a second. You stopped working. Your income dropped by half, but Medicare is still charging you the high earner penalty based on a salary you don't make anymore, and this isn't pocket change. Depending on the bracket, that surcharge runs from around $75 a month up past $400 a month, on top of the regular premium. If you're a couple and you both got hit, double it. That is real money walking out of your check every single month for a paycheck you no longer earn. And this one is sneaky in a way the others aren't, because it never shows up as a bill you can look at. It's already taken out of your deposit before the money ever hits your bank. So most people never even realize it's there. They just see the smaller number land, assume that's what Social Security pays, and quietly live with it for years. Nobody sends a note that says, by the way, we're still charging you the high earner penalty on a salary you stopped making in 2024. You have to know to go looking for it. So here's the call. If you've had what Social Security calls a life-changing event, you retired, you stopped working, your hours got cut, your spouse died, you got divorced, you have the right to make them recalculate that surcharge using your real current income instead of the ghost of your old salary. Same number, 1-800-772-1213. And the magic words are Form SSA-44. Say it just like that. I need to file an SSA-44 for a life-changing event. You fill it out, you show them proof your income dropped, and if it's approved, that surcharge comes off. And your net deposit goes up the very next cycle. This isn't a favor they're doing you, it's a right written into the rules. It just only happens if you ask, and now you know the form by name. Which brings us to call number 3, the big one, the one I told you to wait for. This is the call where people find hundreds of dollars a month they had no idea existed, because it's money built on somebody else's work record, not just your own. Let me say that plainly, because it's the whole secret of this video. Your check is not limited to what you earned. If you were ever married, you may be owed a benefit off your husband's or your wife's record. And here's where the real money hides. This doesn't end when the marriage ends, and it doesn't end when they do. Walk through the doors this opens. If you're married right now, you can be entitled to up to half of your spouse's benefit, if half of theirs beats your own. A lot of people who earned less or who stepped out of work for years to raise the kids are quietly drawing their own small check while a bigger one sat right next to it the whole time. If your spouse has passed away, you may be able to claim a survivor benefit worth up to 100% of what they were receiving. And I'll be honest with you, I hear from widows constantly who kept collecting their own smaller amount for years because not one person ever told them they were allowed to switch to the bigger one. That's years of the difference, gone, and you don't get those months back. And here's the one almost nobody knows about. If you were divorced, but that marriage lasted 10 years or longer and you haven't remarried, you can claim a benefit off your ex-spouse's record. No, they never find out. No, it takes nothing away from them and nothing away from their new husband or wife. 10 years of a marriage you already lived through can be worth a monthly benefit for the rest of your life. Think of the person you know who was married for 11, 12, 15 years, got divorced, and has no idea any of this applies to them. That's who this call is for. This is the $500 call, and often it's much more. On a solid earner's record, half of their benefit, or all of a survivor benefit, can be $500, $700, $1,000 a month more than what you're drawing today. But here's exactly why it's the last call and the most important one. Social Security does not automatically give you the bigger of the two checks. They are not allowed to just switch you over on their own. You have to know the benefit exists, and you have to file for it by name. So you call 1-800-772-1213, and you say, I want to check whether I qualify for a spousal, survivor, or divorced spouse benefit, and I want to file if I do. Then you make them run your two numbers side by side. Bring the paperwork that unlocks it, your marriage certificate, or the divorce decree, or the death certificate. And here's the tip that gets you a straight answer instead of a runaround. Do not ask them, am I getting the most I can? That gets you a vague yes and a dial tone. Ask the specific question. Please compare my own benefit against a spousal benefit and a survivor benefit on my spouse's record and tell me which one is highest. Make them run all three and say the numbers to you out loud. If the person who picked up can or won't do that, politely ask to speak to a technical expert or book a sit-down appointment at your local office. I know it feels pushy. It isn't. This is your money and your right. And a little patient persistence on this one call is the whole difference between the small check you've been cashing and the bigger one that had your name on it the entire time. So let me put all three back in your hand before you go. Call 1. Fix your earnings record, the missing years quietly dragging your check down. Form SSA 7008. Call 2. Kill the Medicare surcharge you're paying on income you no longer earn. Form SSA 44. Call 3. The big one. Claim the spousal, survivor, or divorced spouse benefit that can be worth $500 a month or more. And remember, they only hand it over if you ask for it by name. All three go to the same number, 1-800-772-1213. And here's what I really want you to hear. The people who are getting every dollar they're owed are not smarter than you, and they didn't get lucky. They made the call. That's the whole difference. The money was always there. The only variable was whether somebody picked up the phone and asked the right question in the right words. So make it your project this week. One call, even just the first one, to check that earnings record. Then do one thing for me. Send this to somebody over 62 who's living on their Social Security and would never in 100 years think to check any of this. The money you save them might be the best gift you hand anybody all year. If it helped, tap that like so more seniors get shown this, subscribe if you want the next one, and tell me down in the comments. Which of the three are you calling about first? I read them, and I answer what I can. Now go pick up the phone. It's your money. Go ask for it by name.